Yo, for this to be the first episode, this delivered on so many levels. Let's talk about the Oval. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of the platforms I have listed in the description box. Man, shout out to Tyler Perry, because before I get into this episode, I just want to send a personal shout out to him because he is delivering beyond. He just opened up not too long ago, just opened up Tyler Perry Studios, which is bigger than some of the big, movie houses in the country. And now he's coming out with two new shows, The Oval and also Sisters. And this first episode of The Oval had me gagged. So yeah, shout out to Tyler Perry. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Continue to win, continue to uplift, and continue to strive for greatness, man, because I'm really so proud of Tyler Perry and I'm a huge fan. So I'm more than happy to review this show. Well, this is the pilot of The Oval, and let me say, a whole bunch of shit is going on with this family, what's they called? The Franklins. The first scene we have between the president, who's named Hunter, and his wife, the first lady, who her name is Victoria. And in this first scene was just crazy because the next thing you know, we see these motherfuckers fighting. She throwing punches at him, he's throwing punches at her, and I'm like, whoa! On the very first episode, they getting it in, and this is before their inaugural ball. They in there fighting, and one of the I think one of the Secret Service guys came in, and he's saying that, get me Donald, and she's like, yes, and give me hair and makeup. Like, so really, this marriage is all for show, but really behind closed doors, they can't stand each other. So we see that going on. Then we got the chief of staff, whose name is Donald. He's, pressuring his wife named Lily. Lily is a fashion designer. She's actually designed the gown that the first lady is going to wear at the inaugural ball. He's mad because Lily is on a plane. She had to go out of town to deal with a client, but he really wants her there because he was due to the fact that he's chief of staff, he was the one to introduce them and got her this huge client, which is the first lady, and she's not there, at the inaugural ball when she's wearing one of her pieces. But she said that, look, I had a client that had a breakdown, I had to get to her, but I'm on my way, I'm gonna make it. And we just see that Donald is very short with her on the phone, and pretty much is just not trying to hear what she has to say because he's mad that she's not there. And he's telling her with all the weather conditions, you're not going to get here in time. And while she's on the plane, she is sitting next to this fine ass piece of chocolate named Bobby. Now, Bobby is very forward and is very aggressive. And you could definitely tell he's got a thing for Lily. So what ends up happening is that the plane ends up, because of the weather conditions, they end up landing in Charlotte, and she's still trying to talk to Donald, and Donald is literally brushing her off. So we see that Lily gets into a conversation with Bobby, and Bobby, the whole time we've seen him, he's literally trying to inject himself into Lily's world. And Lily is, being defensive, like, hey, I'm a married woman, this is my husband, I'm just, she's literally trying to put that wall up, but Bobby is very persistent. And if you looked at Bobby, you would understand why, because I'm like, Bobby's fine. and very big, very muscular, and he's handsome. So he's kind of like laying the lines on her, and then lets her, you know he knows that she's married, and she also discovers that he's married as well because he has a wedding ring on, and he begins to push up on her and let her know that have you ever just wanted to just let go and just let yourself feel good, and then he whispers that I'm gonna go to the restroom, and this is while they're at the airport in Charlotte. He lets her know, I'm about to go to the restroom. There's a baby changing table and a locked door. So he goes into the damn bathroom. He literally stirred her grits because next thing you know, we see Lily coming up in there. I've never done this before. Next thing you know, he picks her up and begins to give her the D. And that's where it ended with them. And I was like, damn, girl. I mean, hey, maybe if Donald wasn't being so nasty to her, she wouldn't got sucked into Bobby's world, because Bobby was giving it to her, honey. Tearing her up in the bathroom stall. I'm like, all right, Lily, get yours. So that happened. Now I'm going to talk about the butler and his family. Now, the butler is named Richard. Donald, who's the chief of staff, tells him, we have these special boxes that want to be moved, and we want you to move them personally, because this is top level stuff. Now, Richard has issues with his back, so he calls his son Bobby. He calls his son, not Bobby, his son Barry to come in to help him. And then we also meet Priscilla. She's the head chef. And I kind of think, there's something that may be going on between Priscilla and Richard, but who's to say? But back at Richard's home, we also see Richard's family. His wife is named Nancy, and their son Barry. When we first meet Barry is tearing up his girlfriend Sharon up in the room, and let's say Barry got a nice body. Barry got a nice body. And while he's at home, he gets a call from his father from Richard, that he needs help moving these boxes. Now, technically, he ain't supposed to be there because he's not really staff, but Barry's been coming to the White House for years, ever since he was a kid, because Richard has worked for 3 administrations. So, right before he's about to leave, Barry has a run-in with his baby mother named Ruth. Ruth is in a cult, and she wants to see her daughter, and he lets her know, I got custody. You ain't seen your damn daughter. Now get your ass away from here. And they get into this big argument, and Nancy comes in and breaks it up and tells Ruth, like, look, we'll talk, but you need to get away from here. You're upsetting her, and you're upsetting everyone. Their daughter is named Carolyn. And the funny thing is that you could tell Ruth is in a cult because she starts leaving singing, bring my little children to me. And she just kept singing, and I was like, man, this girl is gone. Completely. And, once Barry gets to the White House to help his father, his mother, he gets a call from his mother, and she's saying that, look, Ruth keeps coming around, why don't you just let her see him? And he's like, no, you forget that she left my daughter in a crack house, and all she did was, but Nancy's like, well, she looked like she's gotten herself together. And he's like, no, she didn't. She just traded one drug for another. She went from doing drugs to now she's in a cult. She's not mentally stable. And I do not want her to see my daughter at all. So Nancy takes it upon herself to call Ruth and invites Ruth over to see the daughter. Now I'm like, okay, now that you did this shit, I don't know. Like, here it is. He told you he didn't want old girl to see his daughter, but here the mother went against him and brought old girl over there anyway. So she lets her spend 2 hours, and then Ruth gets real buck and was like, oh no, she's coming with me. you know, and she's like, let her go. And she's like, no, I'm not. She's coming with me. The highest needs her. She's special, and she's coming with me. And like, Nancy got real bugged. She's like, if you don't get the hell up out of here, I'm gonna beat your ass throughout this entire house. Now let her go. And all of a sudden, Ruth is like, I'm sorry I had to do this to you. And she just does this call, and all of these, people from the cult come in, and they literally are seizing upon Nancy and Carolyn. And I'm like, see, your damn son told your big-headed ass not to bring her over there, and look what happened. So then we also what ends up happening is we actually get to meet the first family, because we already were introduced to Hunter and Victoria Franklin, who's now the president and the first lady. Now we meet the first daughter. The first lady gets word that she's not getting dressed, and she's been drinking, and she won't abide by the rules or whatever. So what ends up happening, she goes to confront her daughter, who's Gail, and Gail is actually played by Paige Hurd. Y'all remember Paige Hurd? She played Queen Latifah's daughter in Beauty Shop, and she was also Chris's love interest on Everybody Hates Chris. But she's, a grown woman now, and she looks great. But she's playing the role of Gail, who's the eldest child, and she has a brother named Jason. Now, in this scene between Gail and Victoria, her daughter is literally a splitting image of her. She is ruthless, she's mean, and she is that bitch. Because they going back and forth, and Gail's a mess. She really is. They go back and forth, and Victoria's saying, you're not going to screw this up for me or your father. And she's like, to hell with my father. And she's like, well, you listen to me, you no good, ungrateful little bitch. Because the reason why she don't want to go is because she wants her boyfriend to come to the inaugural ball. And she says, he's not welcome here. And she's like, I want Leon to be here. And she's like, oh, you mean Picky? His damn record is long as my train, and we will not have him at this inaugural ball. So I'm like, this damn girl crazy. And she began to let her know, like, you are going to get yourself dressed, and you're not going to embarrass us, because if you do, I will have you shipped so far across the world that no one will ever see your ass again. And she's saying that you don't scare me. And she says, say this shit again, and I'm going to put your head through that wall. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you see. You know I will. Now, get dressed now. And wear the blue dress, not that ugly green shit you picked out. And I was just like, wow. I was just sitting back like, yo, like mother like daughter. But her daughter hates her, and she don't like her damn daughter. So we just know for this whole season, we're going to be getting a whole lot of moments with the two of them. And it's going to be epic. And then we also see that that her brother, Jason, there's something up with him. We don't really see much of him in this episode, but when he offered to help Gail get dressed, I'm like, what the hell? What kind of shit are y'all on? Like, that's weird. And she pretty much tells him, get out, you damn creep. And then at the inaugural ball, he's mad because Secret Service keeps following him. And he's like, why the hell does he keep following me? And Hunter was like, you know why. So I'm like, oh, so they done had some issues with their damn son. But in time, we're going to find out what that is. So then we go into the inaugural ball. The president and the first lady gets introduced. They walking down, and immediately Victoria looks over to this woman in this very, seductive red gown. And immediately she gets mad and looks at him. And we see that Donald kind of has that look like, because Donald's the chief of staff. So Donald knows everything. Donald's on top of everything. If anything, Donald was the one that got them elected. How he did that, probably we'll find out later. But let's just say that Donald's kind of, creepy his damn self. Or he's got some shit with him. So they start dancing at the inaugural ball, and we see this woman in the red dress, and she's giving this look. And all of a sudden, they're like smiling, but then they're kind of like talking shit to each other under their breath. And she's like, "So this is what you do at the inaugural dress? You invite your whore?" And then he's like, "Well, the president does get a +1." I was like, damn. So clearly, this marriage is all for show, and that's all it is. Behind closed doors, they can't stand each other. And they also get word that Gail didn't come to the inaugural ball, but she's still at the White House and she's drunk as hell. So she pretty much tells one of the Secret Service men, "Keep her ass there until I get back." So then we see Gail comes in. She's there with the staff. Richard, Barry's there. Yuma, who's one of the security people. Yuma's cool. I like her. Also, Priscilla's there, and and then there's this other maid whose name is Jean. So they're all there, and Gail comes in there drunk as a skunk, talking cash shit, being disrespectful, and they're like, "Can we get you something?" She's like, "I'll have a burger." And Richard, being the head butler, is like, "Okay, we can arrange that for you and everything. And would you like us to show you to your room?" And she's like, "Well, this is Jean. She's gonna be your personal maid. She'll show you to your room." She's like, "Oh no, I want him to show me," pointing at Barry. And I'm like, so we already see right here, Gail's a little thought, because Barry don't even work there, but she want Barry to show her the room. And like Richard kind of said, let her know that, well, he doesn't work here, and she's like, "Shut up, I want him to show me. This way, is it that way?" So they agree, okay, Barry, go with her, but they tell Jean to follow and to stay close. So they get to the damn door. She lets Barry in, but tells Jean, "I only want him in here. Get the hell out of my room," and all of that, and slams the door on Jean's face and begins to try to give Barry fellatio. Barry fights her off and tries to push her, says, "No, don't do this. Stop. And he pushes her to the point where she hits her head, and she she pretty much knocks out. And Jean comes in and she's like, "What's going on? What happened?" She's like, "Look, I didn't do anything. She was trying to have sex with me and I was telling her no, and I pushed her. She hit her head. I didn't do anything to her." So what ends up happening is that Jean calls Sam. Sam, I think, is the head of the Secret Service. So but all of a sudden we see that that Gail comes to. She comes out of her coma and starts saying that Barry raped her. And I'm like, "You evil little bitch. Are you serious? You was literally trying to put your mouth on his medulla oblongata, and then because he didn't give you what you wanted, now you're gonna say he raped you?" Like, I'm like, Gail's a piece of work. Like, that little bitch is a mess. So that's where it ended. So I already can say that, Tyler Perry, you have done the damn thing with this show, because he had us with the haves and the have-nots and If Loving You Is Wrong, but The Oval is another show that's going to be on that caliber, because the shit that goes down is insane, and this is just the first episode. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts. So until next time, everybody, take care.